A day in the life of World of Warcraft.
Sorry, today's not going to be too much of an exciting episode for you guys today. Erin has called off the usual group tonight because apparently she has a headache. I could ask questions, but I won't bother. Anyway, so I've been playing this for a while, and I figure that since today is going to be the open day, the first one I actually have time to do this with, it is time to sit down and have a little chat about Death Knights. Now, I can totally understand why they're not going to be the same Death Knights I knew, because I actually saw Arthas become a Death Knight, technically speaking. So, Death Knights have become a new beast as of Warcraft 3. It's not too different for World of Warcraft here. So, that being said, though, So the background works. You're essentially a person who lost their soul to the Lich King, aka Arthas. He then used your trapped soul to rebirth you as a still living Death Knight, and has been using you and manipulating you, as well as numerous others he's managed to find, capture, and recycle through the same soul collecting system, in order to make essentially an army of heroes for himself, in order to try and find a special sacred relic and destroy it, as it would be one of the few things that could actually hold him back. So, the build-up starts off pretty good. You even have a voiceover of Arthas who actually repeats some of the dialogue that is written for you after you finished reading it already, which is a little bit silly, but it would have been nice as soon as the dialogue pops up that he would actually start talking instead of later. That's just a little minor thing. Then you get to create your own rune sword, which, by the way, look at this thing. I literally have to make a portal in order to keep enhancing this thing. If you happen to change weapons, you have to go back and re-enchant it. We use what is called runes, and we use, down here, rune forging in order to allow our weapons to become even more powerful. And they're essentially our main key thing that keeps our characters alive. Essentially, we are forced into conflict constantly in order to sedate ourselves from going completely crazy. Which is an interesting little effect, and with as much conflict as there is in Azeroth, there's always going to be a use for a Death Knight somewhere. There's always going to be enough work for Death Knight that they will never actually die themselves, as long as they keep feeding their runes through such means. And the first couple missions are pretty good. The creating the sword, but there's actually a storyline where you get to go off, beat up a demon, and collect a horse. And once turned in, the demon you got from was like, yes, excellent, you've done well. So in return for capturing it, here's your horse. And I would show it to you right now. Actually, I'm going to step outside so you can have a look at it. It is in of itself a slightly demonic looking mount. As you can see, stole this from a demon. It's mine now. There are many like it, but this one is mine. So that was good. Then there's some of your usual go out and kill guys things, and it's like, okay, yeah, it's starting to get a little bland, but at least there's some other interesting side stuff. Then they literally have a mission where, as far as I could tell out of reading it quickly, they want you to fight other players, and I found that to be extremely annoying as well as a douchey move by the game itself. Thankfully, however, they do have NPCs you can fight instead of pestering people. So once I found out about that, I did go back and re-go at it and start to progress again. Then there's a little number where you have to go into a mine and raise a whole bunch of miners as zombies for the ghoul pens. And that was cool because the zombies you raise would actually help you fight on your way back. So they're actually useful NPCs that follow you around. And then the next thing it wanted me to do was so ill-explained, I was so just royally pissed. I saw no mention of it until I looked at the quest log for like the second or third time. Essentially, what normally reads is, you go off over there, you killed them. Yay! Killing the enemy. What they wanted you to do was first secretly go off into a minecart, hop in it, and then get dragged out to a ship on the shoreline, and then you fire off a cannon and kill about 100 people. Oh, and by the way, even after doing that, the only way to get back inland is to essentially get killed like 3 or 4 more times on the way back in. Unless you happen to be very lucky. I think I only died twice. But you have to run through all the masses again unless someone's already bombarding them and try and get through on a horse. And that's pretty much it. That was also really weak sauce, and then it kind of continues to grind around, find different. I'll admit they at least find different ways of doing it, but they keep forcing you into these kill fests, and it gets a little bit old once in a while, as one would expect. Oh, by the way, I'm gonna do this really quick, and so with that said. Glowy blue eyes, all Death Knights have it. And so, with that said, it started to just get a little bit repetitive and gets a bit samey. And then we finally get to near the end, and they didn't explain it properly again. So I was just told, "Hey, we're gonna go off of there and fight them." I'm like, "Sweetness!" Run off into the enemy zone, and I get completely obliterated like 2-3 more times. Then I'm sitting here going, "What the fuck? Does Blizzard not want to explain anything?" Look at the mission again, and yes, Blizzard doesn't want to explain fucking anything lately. And you're supposed to actually like sit there next to an NPC and essentially wait a certain amount of time until they decide that people are ready, and you and a whole bunch of other players, as well as a ton of NPCs, will finally go out and do this fight, which then goes into a story where Arthas shows up. And then our leader of our particular squad actually remembers his past and why he became a Death Knight, and finally turns against Arthas, as he's also been weakened because he's on holy ground. And finally, the Death Knights have earned their freedom. And that's pretty much where it leaves off. You then take back there's another couple missions of taking back the base for ourselves, so we continue to craft our weapons to keep ourselves sane and powered. And from there, it's just pretty much go wherever. I've yet to really find any distinct direction the game actually wants to send me in. I'm what level now? I'm 58, and I haven't a clue where to go at this point. I would assume by this point there'd actually be some stuff to do. At level 60 is essentially beginning of the end game originally. So I would think there'd be something for me to do, but I'd be damned if I know where to go or where to find it. So I just pretty much decided I'm going to pick up doing dungeons and just cram my way through those until I can figure out anything else, if I can even bump into anything else to figure out. I do think I have like one other thing. Outland. I'm not sure how to get there. Wouldn't know the first thing about it. And that's pretty much where I am stuck at the moment. It's got interesting story bits, but it's really, really a mixed bag and mostly negative. A lot of these quests don't really tell you flat out what you need to be doing when you need to do it, so it gets really annoying. And then there's a huge middle section of just mashing humans' faces into the ground and telling them they're punks. And while it's fun for a while, it does get mediocre because it's literally every other quest in the game. So it's an interesting startup. I wish as soon as you get out, they would actually take you right to the more plot, outside of going to your leader and turning in a mission where you're officially accepted no matter what. But that's pretty much where it just throws you, and I have no clue where to go because the game won't tell me anything. It's just kind of really, really kind of mediocre at best. So if you're really interested, there is still some plot in there, and when it hits actual plot, it's really good. But also be warned that there's a lot of really boring shit in between, and you're going to hate yourself for playing it. Much like any other MMO, there's lots of really boring in between stuff. Anyway, I think that's it. I've rambled for a couple minutes. I'm almost up to 10 minutes, actually. So I will call it there. This is tonight's episode. just wanted to inform you all how Death Knights are and what it's all like by the time you get out of there. And I will see you all next time. Good night.